Welcome back to Laem Mae Phim, and it's day 2. It's a duck day. It's been raining since early this morning, so I'm not going to get too much done. We're going to cruise around, make some calls, and see how much things would cost to live here. We're going to try and get some costs of housing. And we're also going to, I think we're going to hook up with one of my members that lives here as well. But we stopped to get some food at a place called Happy Snack. Now, everything seems to be closed. Everything. I don't know if it's because of the rain or off-season or what. But we stopped at Happy Snack for some food. Thank you. And this one is a dish called Kapao Gai. Kapao is a type of basil. Gai is chicken. So it's stir-fried basil and chicken. And they got some green beans in there as well. This one I think was 50 baht and an extra 10 for the egg on top. Usually I get this my soup, and it comes with a little side broth as well to eat with it. So we got that. I think we got some noodle soup, some chicken noodle soup, and that one is some soup because it's a cold day for Thai people. For me, this is what we call yen sabai, which is cool, really nice and cool. So I appreciate it. We don't get this kind of rain in Cha'am Wan. The south we go, the more the rainy season is rainy. Last time I saw rain like this is when I stayed and did the videos in Gochang. I was there for about a month, and it would do this on and off for days. I'm trying to find inexpensive places. Every place I looked to actually stay was 800 baht, even for these dumpy little rooms, 800 baht a night. So it's interesting that even though nobody's here, places don't look so good, but the places to stay were expensive. And it seems to be we've stopped at like 8 or 10 places, all 800 baht for these dingy little tiny rooms overnight. We're trying to get monthly prices. We're going to talk with my member. We're going to hook up with him, do a little conversation on video with him. He's from the States and living here in this city, so that'll be cool. We'll go ahead and do that. And so we ordered the Kapao Gai, chicken with the basil with the egg. And that got Kutiao noodle soup. It's called Kutiao with chicken, I think. Gai lo. How much? Kutiao Raka Karai Cup? 50 baht. So this was 50 baht, 10 for the egg, 50 baht, she says, for the noodle soup with the chicken. I also got stir-fried. I wanted to try out some stir-fried egg noodles. Banh mi is the egg noodles, so we got stir-fried with chicken and vegetables as well, and those were 50 baht. So those will be coming to the table as well. So we found an inexpensive place to eat. We passed by this place 2 or 3 times when it was raining hard, and they had everything down and closed, but now they're open, so we found a place to eat. And we're gonna waddle around like a duck, try and stay dry, go do the conversation with our member on video, and that's what we plan on doing today. Anything else comes up, you'll be seeing it. Member's house. There's my member Dana, and to do an interview, but as you can see, it is pouring. Like this is like hurricane weather in Florida. That's not a swimming pool. That was his backyard. About 2 hours ago there was nothing there. This is our weather today, huh? Great for ducks. We're actually in between storms. We're going to try and attempt this while we got light rain at this point. We'll see. I hear thunder off in the distance. But anyway, I got my member Dana here that we met before. It's been 1 year ago. About a year ago. About a year ago. Yeah. And you'd contacted me saying, hey, you were coming over, and you actually offered me this really cool thing, a standing room tent that you'd brought over, and we used it in the wintertime to go camping and stuff, which was awesome. I think some of the people that have been following me on YouTube probably saw that in a couple of the videos. So I want to thank you for that. First of all, again, that was really awesome. And I also want to thank you for the support of being a member. But you sort of have an interesting story that I always try and share people's experiences and stories. So there's so many people out there on YouTube that can relate to what people are going through and decisions that needed to be made and things like that. And you now just have come back again. How many times have you been here?
To Thailand?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. 15 times, 20 times maybe.
Over how many years?
Over 16 years.
Okay. And married to a Thai?
Yes, yeah.
How many years have you been married?
We'll be married 14 years in November.
Wow, congratulations. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So you had made trips back and forth. I'm sure she was visiting relatives on your trips over. Was it mainly to see relatives or just to get a feel for the country?
In the beginning, well, naturally it was, well, my first trip over was vacation. And I met my wife the first trip over, so then after that it was the relationship thing going back and forth, but also for fun, for a vacation. So, and then over the years, after, I brought her back to the States and so on, but we'd come back at least once a year for a vacation and for her to see her family also, but yeah, and so it's just a place that I've loved from the get-go. Why?
What do you love about it?
I often tell people it's kind of like you're stepping back in time. It's kind of like a time machine. For example, you go to the get gas at the gas station and the guy comes out and cleans your windshield. I mean, I haven't seen that for I don't know how many years in the States. The kids still play in the yards, and you don't, the crime isn't what it is back home. It's just, there's a lot of small things like that that make me remember my youth and how much I liked it, and I'm able to relive that here. And,
I agree. I agree. In fact, I mentioned that on one of our member videos where I played this, edited into that video for our weekly update about some of the things that, how we're still alive when they say all these things are bad for us, that we rode bicycles without helmets and we played in neighbors' yards and we drank water out of hoses and all those things that we grew up doing that now the kids are nowadays don't do or can't do. And back here, you come here and it's a lot like that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, for example, it's not unusual at all. As a matter of fact, it's commonplace to see 4 people on a motorbike. You'll have the little kid that's, this high standing in the front, and then you got 3 people behind them. And people don't bat an eye at that. And if you were back in the States and saw that, I mean, people would be up in arms. They'd have a revolution.
Parents would lose their children.
Oh, they would. You're right. They would lose their children. Here, it's just a necessity because they can't afford a car, and everybody jumps on a motorbike and they go. And a lot of things, they do like that out of necessity. And I like that. I mean, the Big Brother thing that's happened all over the world, not just in America, as it's kind of, I got a big problem with that. And here I'm able to kind of get away from a lot of that. So, yeah.
Which equals less stress?
Totally less stress. I mean, here I am retired now. I've gotten to the retirement age, and for me, I don't have any stress.
What is retirement age? For me, it was a little earlier than a lot of people.
I mean, the typical, I'm not quite 65 yet, but I'm in the 60s, typically people think that's when you retire, and, whatever, but I've reached that age, and, I never really thought that I was going to be able to have this. I couldn't have this in the States.
Oh, yeah, you have a beautiful home here. Yeah. Last time I was here, you all just, I think, basically moved in, and not that.
We had been here, well, not quite a year, but we haven't finished building yet. We had been staying here not quite a year, but
this isn't too hard to take.
No, I mean, I wake up every day, or I love to get in the pool at night and just float around on that little float there, and just think to myself, this, I never dreamt in a million years I could have this, So.
You mentioned retirement age. What is retirement for you?
What's it mean?
Yeah, what do you, for some people it means quitting work, but I know your job, you sort of work for yourself anyway, sort of.
Yes,
so you didn't have to punch a clock. So what is retirement for you? What does that mean to you?
Freedom to wake up in the morning and do whatever I want. That's basically what it means to me. I don't have to do anything. I do keep busy, but it's just the realization that I don't have to do anything. I can do whatever I want. That's huge for me.
Yeah, I think it's huge for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's huge because most people don't get a chance to do that.
I guess not. Yeah.
Hard to incorporate that kind of lifestyle into a job.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I have to say I am lucky, and I appreciate what I have. Believe me. Yeah.
Well, that's good that you appreciate it. I mean, a lot of people are over here, and I think they either take for granted what they have, and they're not happy, or they're completely bored out of their mind because they stopped doing something that was such a big part of their life and have nothing to fill that void in with.
Right. There's a lot of pitfalls you can fall into here in Thailand. Being retired, drinking's one of them. Doing nothing's another one. Sitting in front of the tube. So, but you can do all these things at home too. This is not just Thailand. But if you want to be happy, if you want to enjoy your life, you've got to keep busy, doing things, keep your mind occupied, enjoy going places, seeing things. I love to explore around here. One of my favorite things to do is to get on the motorbike and just putt around the countryside here at 10, 20 miles an hour and just look around, say hello to people as I go by. And a cool thing happened the other day. I was driving down the street and I heard this, that xylophone thing they have. I heard that music, and as I was going by, I kind of glanced out of the corner of my eye, these two kids playing. So I turned around and went back, and I must have been a little kind of a school thing, because there was an old man there teaching these two guys that were facing each other, these two kids, about, I would say 12 years old, and they were playing in synchronization. They were exactly the same, and they were playing this thing, and I just sat there for, I don't know, probably 20 minutes. I was mesmerized. But it was just something, my point is, you're going down the street, you see this, you can stop, and they're welcoming, come in, sit down, and you don't do that. Back in California, where I'm from, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, the welcoming part of it is most people don't have the time in their life to stop and smell the roses. They're too busy trying to, they're on that treadmill that's constantly going by. Yep. But then once they do have the time, then most people have made an isolated life with that time.
Right. Because
they don't have the opportunity to be social with other people. It's sort of not socially acceptable to be social anymore.
And that's another thing that now that you mentioned that I like about Thailand is the neighborhood thing. I know my neighbors. We interact. It didn't happen back in California. Everybody's, they're paranoid. They're afraid. They're locking their doors. They're doing this and that. And I hate that feeling. I hate it. And I don't have that feeling here. I've never felt threatened in Thailand. A little careful. Go to cities like Pattaya or something like that. You got to be a little careful. But that's any city in the world. That you got to be on your toes about that. But you come out to the countryside in Thailand, and I don't feel threatened. Maybe some people do, but I certainly don't. And people I talk to don't. And,
There's certain people that I think will attract trouble no matter where they go.
You're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, if you look for trouble, you can find it pretty much anywhere. Yeah.
And so now you've actually moved over full time, right?
Pretty much. I've got to go back once a year right now. At least next year I'll go back for a couple months. I'll have to do my taxes and some business with the tent business. I've got to take a little, but that might be the last time for any length of time. I'll go back, but not for extended periods, because why?
Why? And the why is getting bigger, isn't it?
It is, I tell you. Thailand, I know, is not for everybody. But for me, it's paradise,
Yeah, ripper in paradise, or retiree in paradise. Yeah. There is no perfect place, and Thailand has its challenges as well. Yep. And as the exploding middle class emerges here, along with it comes some of the ills that we've experienced in other countries, Western countries, and so they're going to start experiencing some of those things and already have. Yeah. Which is a shame because most people try and emulate Western countries, where Western countries have lost what these people have, and they aspire to have something that's more materialistic and a more materialistic life, and it's driving them in a direction that, for me, isn't
true,
that life that we talked about earlier, which
that's disappearing because of that
simple life. Yeah. Once you start accumulating things, people want them.
Right, and I'm as guilty as anybody for that. I mean, I want things too, and I like to play with things, and the marketing world gets you addicted to that. I mean, who do you place the blame on? I don't know. It was my fault, partially, of course, but it doesn't matter whose fault it is. You try to keep what you got, keep this kind of lifestyle going as long as you can. For me, that's what I'm going to try to do.
Now, besides building the house, how about the cost of living over here? You talked about people being friendly and you feel safe. What about the cost of living compared to California?
Some things are, believe it or not, more expensive.
What kind of liquor is that?
Yeah, well, that's true. But, electronics, some electronics, for example, TVs, I found are more expensive.
TVs are more expensive here?
Yes, yeah,
really?
I found the TVs are more expensive. Furniture, in some cases, is more expensive. I discovered that when we furnished the house. Labor is still very cheap.
Now, the furniture, you're buying hardwood furniture?
Well, it depends. I mean, some furniture is more expensive. The finer furniture, for sure, is more expensive.
Appliances, for sure, if you want Western appliances, they're more expensive.
They're more expensive, yeah.
This is the thing about that I always fall back on, me telling everybody that anything that the average Thai person doesn't use, a service or a product, is going to be disproportionately expensive. So when we're talking about furnishing a home Western style, with Western style furniture, Western style appliances, and things like that, that average Thais have a gas can and a little gas stove or electric wok is what they're cooking with. So when we want range hoods and 4-burner stoves or an oven, oh my God, God forbid, an oven.
I got an oven, yeah.
Swimming pools,
right.
You're talking about something that...
But that's changing. It's changing
that's
rapidly.
That exploding middle class again. They want these things that consumers driven them. So some of these products now are being manufactured within Thailand by Thai companies.
Right.
Which is the same with the drugs. Why drugs are cheap here? Because instead of importing them, now that Thais use a lot of these drugs, you can find almost anything here by a Thai company. So those drugs became more cheaper. These specialty drugs that we used to call them back home, they're common here now.
Right.
And so the price comes down.
Now, things that are cheaper, building a house, for example, that bungalow that we built there, that cost, the total, I mean, that's soup to nuts. Now, that doesn't have a kitchen in it, but I have my workshop in it, and I have the apartment for my wife's dad and so on. Anyways, that whole thing costs about $6,000 US.
Wow.
Now, you couldn't build a garage. You couldn't get the permits for $6,000.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, the permits alone.
And that's another thing. There's no permits.
That's right. And so let me ask you a question. Was it the materials that were less expensive or the labor? Or both?
Both. The materials, some materials were as expensive. But, yeah, but the labor was nothing, because I remember sitting down with a contractor before, and he was giving me a price, and yeah, the labor was a fraction of what the place cost. Depending on how you want to live over here, there's extremes. You can live on a shoestring over here very easily. I know several people here that do that and are just as happy as anybody else.
Yeah, I know some of our members do that. I get people on YouTube saying you could live a really shitty life on $500 a month or something. We have members that have an extremely fulfilled life on that kind of money.
Right.
They don't have all the gadgets and all the stuff. They have a very simple life, but it's very much more fulfilling than sleeping in a cardboard box under a freeway back home for that money.
That's right. That's right.
And
then and you can live for, I don't know, $2,000 a month, for example. You could live pretty comfortably.
Oh, you could live extremely well.
Yeah, and that's going out to dinner a lot, and and having yourself a vehicle.
I think $1,000. If $1,000 will get a person a very nice, comfortable life. Less than that, it's gonna be a meager lifestyle. More than that, you start to be able to do more of these things.
Traveling, for example.
Yeah.
Traveling.
Eating out at more expensive
and yes, and traveling can get a little expensive if you want to travel a lot. That can eat up your money, but you can even travel cheaply. You can get a van or a bus or to say Bangkok from here. I think my nephew gets a van up to Bangkok. What did he pay? It was like 600 baht, which is about $18, and it's what 2.5, 3 hours away.
Speaking of bus and transportation and stuff like that, how did you end up here in Laem Mae Phim?
Well, a little over 2 years ago, my wife and I came back to Thailand with intention of living here. So what we did is our plan was to travel around the country, different places, to see where we wanted to end up. So I know I didn't want to be, I'd gone to Patty a bunch of times, that was out of the question. So I think one of our first places was Hua Hin, and that was too crowded for us. I don't know, we were several places. And so, make the long story longer maybe, we were in Rayong, and we had been going around in circles. We were looking at this property and that property, and so we wanted to call it a day, and we went to a hotel, and my wife didn't like the hotel, so we got back out in the car. I pulled my iPad out, Google Maps, and I looked at it, and I looked down the coast, and I just went, I said, that's where we're going tonight. That's it, and I'm done. And we drove into town, and it just, this is where we want to be. We started looking around for places.
Why? What was it that made
Well,
you
it was exactly what I wanted. It was near the seaside, small town, not a lot of nightlife, friendly neighborhoods, still countryside. It's just everything I was looking for. I felt comfortable. When you go to a place and you feel comfortable right away, that I felt myself living here.
That's key to doing it. I know some people make plans to go live someplace without ever having even been over to see the place, and I think that's a mistake. I really think you need to start wide and narrow it down into a place where, like you say, you go there and you go, this feels like home.
Right.
And Chiang Mai felt like that for years and years and years for me. Then when it stopped feeling that way, I knew it was time to leave. Because it didn't reflect. It's just like if 10 years from now this place gets overrun with tourism and condominiums and stuff like that, you might rethink this and say, okay, I'll put the house up for sale, we'll go do this again somewhere else.
No question about it. Yeah, that's certainly a possibility.
Because it loses that criteria.
Right. And if I had my druthers, I would have come here and rented for 2 or 3 months, and found my bearings and got my found out about contractors, this and that, who's good, who's not. Once you're here for a few months, you get to know people, you talk to different people, and you can alleviate a lot of problems that way if you've got the time. We were pressed for time because we only had, I think it was 2 weeks left on our trip over here. So if we were going to pull the trigger, we had to do it then, which we did. And it ended up it was okay, but we could have avoided a lot of stumbling blocks. And my advice to anyone that's coming over here to live, first of all, if you've never been here, come here first for a visit. If you can spend a month here, that would be, and the longer you can stay here, the better. Get a feel of Thailand, see if you're going to like it, because it's different. The cultures, everything is different. You need to be tolerant. You definitely need to be tolerant here. You can't. You got to
be flexible, or it's going to drive you crazy.
It will.
The differences are major.
And I was told that and I had been here for years and years as a tourist, but living here is a whole different thing. And when I got here, I was told, you're going to have to settle down a little bit, and I just thought to myself, you're right, I'm going to have to. And so I've made a conscious effort to not to get excited. I still get frustrated, but I don't let it, I don't blow up or,
And you're lucky too, because your leap was a lot less than a lot of people's, because you came over with a Thai person.
Oh, yeah, that's
if you didn't have that, imagine,
almost every day, I count on my wife to communicate something to somebody.
I rely on that. That makes the calls, and I just try and explain what it is, because there's right ways and wrong ways to do things. and I could probably get by with a lot of politeness and respect of the people I'm trying to ask for, but there's certain things, especially when it comes to a nomenclature like technical stuff, where I can't explain what it is I want. And I've said to a lot of people, you know, that I've run across that were Thai people, it's like going back and being a child again and just learning how to speak. And you know what it is you want to say, but you can't say it. And the frustration that comes along with what I'm trying to get across is so simple.
That's a good
and
analogy.
And they're not getting it.
Yeah.
And that creates frustration. And to not get caught up in that. And to just do what the Thai say, "My pen lie." You know?
Yeah.
There's times I use that, and I have to go, and I use it more as my escape valve. Is okay. That's my way of saying, okay, I'll come back when I can rethink this and come at it from a different angle. But right now I'm too caught up in it emotionally.
Right.
And I gotta just chill out. My pen and I it's whatever's okay at this point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, I run into that a lot in stores. For example, you go in to ask for something and no have.
Yeah.
No have.
I mean.
And you look down and there it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, back home I would, you know, say, what, you know, get in the guy's face and say, but here, it doesn't even bother me. It's just so second nature now just to go, okay, and just smile.
I don't think at this point I ever take "we don't have it" as a definitive answer anymore.
No, absolutely not, no.
Because I'll look and then I'll ask. So I'll usually look myself first,
right.
Because I can sort of figure out more than the staff. They have an overabundance of staff that are not trained or anything. They're just like warm bodies.
Right.
And so I usually can think through a process of where they might put something before, better than they could at a certain point. Then we'll bring them into the picture. If they can help, fine. And sometimes they do. The boy will walk me right to it, show me what I want, and then say "my me."
You know what has helped me a lot?
And then say "my me."
And say "my me," yeah.
Well, it's on display right here. Yeah, "my me." Well, what do you mean you don't have it? Why is it on display? "My me." Well, will you be getting it back again? "My me."
My me.
Well, why don't you take it off the shelf? Sell that one to me. It's the last one. You don't have any more. You don't know if any more are coming. Sell me that one.
But
"My me."
yeah.
Okay.
You know what has helped me?
And it's always the product that we want.
You know what's helped me a lot? I Google something, go to images, I got a picture of it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Put that in their face,
absolutely.
And boy, I'll tell you.
Absolutely, that is the best strategy.
Yeah.
Is to do that. Is to create or take a photo of something that's broken with you into the store if it's too big to take.
I've done that quite a few times too. Yeah.
And say, or something like you say off the web, and say, "Do you have this?"
Right. Yeah. I did that just the other day. I wanted a wood awl, and I didn't know how I was going to get this across to them. But then I, remembered Google it, and so I picture it, and brought me right over to it. Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, yeah.
Well, I really appreciate. By the way, how's your Thai coming along?
Nit noi.
A little bit, huh?
Yeah, I learn a little bit at a time. I keep threatening to go to school. I want to, and
You're in the school every day.
I am.
Immersed.
But, I would really like to learn how to read.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because to go down the street and see signs, it's frustrating sometimes because you don't have any idea what that store is, and you'd really like to know what what it is. So something like that. And they also say, speaking Thai, it's easier if you learn to read and write first.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You'll get the nuances of every little thing that we can't even hear.
Right.
You'll know the difference because some of those letters are almost identical, but the sound or the tone is a little bit different. And when you see it and you understand what that is, then you'll know the distinction and be able to say it that way.
Right.
Really important.
I know a Swedish fella here. He's like fluent in 4 languages, Thai being one of them. And I asked him, because he pronounces them all perfectly and all the words perfectly. And I asked him how he did that. And he said, a lot of time in front of a mirror. And I stopped and thought about that. And I said, that's a good idea to watch yourself in a mirror say certain words or look at somebody else, how they say it, and then try to mimic it in the mirror. So,
yeah, and mimicking the sound is real important too. And you got to have somebody around you that's willing to do that.
Right.
But if you're mean to them too many times when they try, then they stop doing it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I learned a long time ago trying to teach my wife how to drive that.
It's difficult with somebody you're close to.
Yeah.
To teach them something.
Right.
It's very difficult.
Right. So I think it's school for me.
Well, I hear thunder in the background.
Yeah.
So I think your lake and your yard are just going to actually get bigger now.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
But it's really great that we got a chance to sit down and have this little conversation.
Yeah, me too.
It helps the people. You don't understand. how important. I got an email, which I could probably pull up right now on my phone, so let's check this out. I want to share something with you, and this goes right along with what I'm talking about. This is what makes it all worthwhile, and these videos help so much when we're talking about how much this actually helps people. Here, this guy wrote to me. His name's Randy, and his last name is one of the cities of America, which so keep him anonymous. I won't mention what the name is, but he says the subject line is, after 18 years finally made it back to Thailand. And it says, it's a story here, an epic.
Gosh, yeah.
But to break it down, it says, my wife on the ferry to Koh Samui, and he met his wife on the ferry to Koh Samui in 1998. And they got married in 1993. They planned on coming over. They made it back 5 years later, 1998, for their 5th anniversary. But anyway, he ended up becoming disabled, and an injury caught up with him, and he ended up sitting at home for years in pain. And the only thing that got him through all these years, for the last 3 or 4 years, was watching these videos.
Really?
Yeah. And so it actually comes down to the end. He says, just a footnote, I was pretty depressed sitting on my couch watching you, thinking about what I should do. But once the light clicked on, that's all I could see in front of me was myself sitting in the places you are sitting. We're going back to check the north out. As you've said, it's quite desirable, blah, blah, blah. One day I hope to run into you, shake your hand, and thank you for reminding me there are options in life. You just have to take one. So with a pineapple shake in hand, I say cheers to you, and thank you for saving me from a life on the couch. Your YouTube videos have been a lifesaver for me, so I can't say thank you enough. And so, I mean, that's the things that that drive me.
Oh, man. Yeah.
When people listen to you speak about your life and how you came over and the steps that you did to make this a reality, it really makes a difference to other people. And to get somebody to sit down and share their life is a big thing for me to do. So I really appreciate that.
Well, you're very welcome. Thanks, and I was happy to do it. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's great.
I mean, I got about a year ago, I got another video, I think I mentioned on the weekly update to our members, that a lady said that her husband always wanted to come live here, and he ended up getting cancer. And he lived vicariously through the videos in his last days. She says you made the last days of his life very happy. And his wife sent me the email, saying thanks.
Yeah.
After he passed, she wanted to thank me for allowing him to live that dream, even though it was on the couch. But anyway, we're in a bed. So, but thanks again.
Well, very welcome.
Hope this has been helpful. A great video. We got it in with a little bit, not too much thunder and lightning and pounding rain. So, again, more stuff coming at you from Laem Mae Phim about living here and chilling out in a nice beach. Some people will say this is way too quiet for them. Some people say Cha'am is too quiet. Some people say,
they can go to patio.
That's right. There you go. All right. Yeah. Dana and JC out. See you later. Take care. And remember, when it comes to how you live your life, where you live your life, and how much you spend on your life,
there's always an option.
There you go. All right. See ya. Hey, JC here. If you like that video, make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel here. Also, we have another video up here you're going to be really interested in watching as well. And if you're looking for all the details of how to retire in Thailand in one place, plus a group of people to support you, check this out over here. Give it a click.